constantly asked, why don't you do an action film? I mean, you're a Hong Kong director after all. Everybody, makes action films in Hong Kong. Especially when you start traveling abroad, everybody asks, why are you not an action director? And it's very hard to explain that not all Chinese could fly, and we don't all know Kung Fu. But that assumption has always been so it's sort of like we're always generalized into that category. And I always said that if one day I would make an action film, it would be the remake of Zhang Zhi's Blood Brothers. And I started working on the script. It took quite a while to get all the thoughts in place and to go through all the materials of the same historical background that Zhang Zhi's movie Blood Brothers was based on. And then I found a lot of really interesting stories or really interesting background on the period of the war with the Taiping late Qing dynasty, where 50 million Chinese died out of famine and war in 1853 to 1867. So it was quite amazing that at one point China was like Afghanistan today. It was really a war-torn country. So we went into a whole rounds of script meetings and finally came up with a story that is really a big departure from Blood Brothers. And it really no longer shares, even though it has the same origin, but it's really very different. Not only from the movie, but also from the historical person, the real person that was part of history. So we decided that maybe then we shouldn't use the name Sima in Chinese, and we should switch the title and even change the name of the characters in the movie, which is what we have now. It's loosely based on those characters, but it's completely make up right now. I think it was a very difficult shoot because it involves a lot of action, which is what I did not need in my other films before. Because when you do action, you're actually doing something that you actually have a very specific vision of what not to do. Because you don't want people to fly, but you basically ruled out everything that Chinese action film has ever done. But at the same time, you don't exactly know how to do it, because I'm not an action choreographer. And then you're talking to the experts, which are people like Cheng Xiudong, who's a master in fantasy action. But however, you don't really want fantasy. But you really can't find someone who know how to do what you want to do, because all the Chinese choreographers have never done anything that are real or gritty action. They've always done stuff that are more fantasy-like. So it was a tough process in both communication and execution, and it all came to quite a happy resolution at the day's end, with a lot of help from Jen, which is really experienced in action, and he gets exactly what kind of grittiness or real reality that I needed. And between him and Cheng Xiudong, I think they did a hell of a job on the action.